Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Greetings, beautiful people. I hope you are all doing well. I am doing well myself. I am in Seattle, Washington, and I am so excited to be here with you for another episode of the African Father in America podcast. I am in Seattle, Washington. My name is Simon Javan Okello, and I am the host of the African Father in America podcast. I am a little late today. I decided to sleep just a little longer. I was up late last night working on a number of things to do with the Madaraka Festival, which is coming up real soon. Madaraka Festival is happening. The first show of the Madaraka Festival tour is on May 16th. So it's getting tight. But we are here. We are not slowing down. We are fighting hard. So if you are joining me on TikTok, thank you. Make sure you share this live. Make sure you also double tap the screen to show love. But make sure you share. Just share the live for now. If you are joining me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, thank you so much for taking your time. And if you're on YouTube is also where I'm really trying to grow the audience of the African Father in America podcast. If you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I have incredible news for you today. We have the Madaraka Festival coming up here so fast, and this is the most incredible show I have ever organized. It's coming up on May 16th at Irving Plaza in New York, on May 21st in Atlanta at Buckhead Theater, on May 24th in Dallas at the House of Blues, and then May 26th we are going to be in Seattle, Washington at Benaroya Hall. So get your tickets right now. The tickets are really selling great, and I deeply appreciate each one of you who have purchased your ticket. I deeply appreciate you. So why are we here today? Why are we here so early in the morning, 6:09 in the morning on a Wednesday? We are here because we have an amazing proverb from the Yoruba community. Hey Martin, thank you for tuning in. I deeply appreciate that. I hope you're doing well over there in Nakuru. I think Nakuru is somewhat in the middle of Kenya. I hope you're doing great. Our proverb today is really nice. I really like it. A quarrel born of jealousy does not end in a hurry. A quarrel born of jealousy does not end in a hurry. I think if you've been around the sun long enough, you're familiar with this kind of a situation where there are people that they just can't leave you alone. They are always on your case. No matter whether you do something good or bad, they are always on your case. So you wonder, what is it that is making so and so uncomfortable, or so jealous, or just so stubborn when it comes to anything that I do. And what this proverb is teaching us is that quarrels that are born of jealousy, they don't end in a hurry. If people have issues with you and it's about jealousy, sometimes you may wonder, why is it that this thing is not ending? But until you figure out that why, you will be wondering for such a long time. You'll be wondering, what did you do? How can you do something differently? But it's really about jealousy, So let's see what the 3 nuggets of wisdom for today's episode are. Maybe we will find a solution as to what can we do if we realize that we're in a cycle of a relationship where we are always quarreling, we are always dealing with challenges, and we don't know what to do. Hopefully we have an answer. But if you're joining this episode whether you will be listening or watching this later on after the live broadcast, or whether you're watching or listening now, I want to know what you think about this proverb. I want to know what your own opinion about this proverb is. A quarrel born of jealousy does not end in a hurry. Let me know in the comments down below. But here are the 3 nuggets of wisdom that my team and I prepared for you today. Number 1, jealousy can lead to conflict and misunderstanding that can be difficult to resolve. When something starts out of jealousy, people get so emotional, people lose control, and people say things that they cannot take back in their mouth again. So things become so confusing, so many layers are then revealed that it becomes so difficult to take things back, and or to even resolve it, to find a way to move forward. So what do you do in such situations? What do you do when you realize that you just had a fight that took out all the energy out of you? What do you do to move forward? That's a question for you to think about. Number 2, our second nugget of wisdom says that address jealousy and its root cause before it escalates into a full-on blown quarrel. Here we are learning that it's important that when you realize that the person you're living with, I've been seeing a lot of things in the news, especially in Kenya. Recently, there was a boyfriend that stabbed a girlfriend to death in Kitengela in Nairobi, just in the outskirts of Nairobi. And it was for a very small reason, it was for a very, very small reason. And what this nugget of wisdom is saying is that address jealousy and its root causes before it escalates into a full-blown quarrel, and quarrels can lead to death sometimes. So if you don't address these things, here in Seattle, there's also a Kenyan that shot his wife and kids. Luckily, nobody died, but he left his family in a very difficult situation. He's in jail now, but if they address the jealousy and its root causes before it escalated into a full-blown quarrel and shooting, things would have been different, So that's our second nugget of wisdom. Our third nugget of wisdom says that communication and empathy are vital in overcoming jealousy and preventing it from damaging relationships. So communication, a lot of the time, we take communication for granted. I take a lot of pride in my communication skills, but sometimes I fail completely, and I'm probably failing somebody right now in terms of communication. But also sometimes especially when I'm producing something as big as the Madaraka Festival that I'm doing now, I get overwhelmed that I end up prioritizing who I communicate with, what am I communicating about, and how important is it. So sometimes I take responsibility for some of the miscommunication or lack of communication that people hold me accountable for, because sometimes I go in silence for days, and I know when I communicate, I'll get the same answer. So if I want to get a different answer, I have to put in some amount of work. And sometimes that work requires silence and focus. And also, there's so many things coming my way as we speak. And so I end up, delaying communicating with someone, but it costs me. And I'm always willing to take responsibility for the lack of communication. So what this nugget is teaching us is that communication and empathy is really, really important. So when you're communicating with someone, try to understand their situation, try to relate to them, try to be in their situation, because those two things, communication and empathy, are very, very vital if you want to overcome jealousy and if you want to prevent it from damaging relationships. Because once jealousy goes overboard, then things can get really, really bad. And I gave you some examples earlier. So I just want to thank you for joining me. I thank you, Olu, I thank you, Lavender and Martin, and also I see Steve has joined us over there on TikTok, and to everybody else that I haven't given a shout out that is here with us for today's episode of the African Father in America podcast. I just thank you. If you don't know, we have tickets for the Madaraka Festival that are selling like hotcake. You should go to madarakafestival.com and grab your ticket, whether you want to join us in New York, whether you want to join us in Atlanta, whether you want to join us in Dallas, or whether you want to join us here in Seattle, Washington. The tickets for Madaraka Festival are still available, but they're selling really fast and really well. So if you don't make your move now, you might be wondering and getting jealous of the people who are enjoying the Sauti Soul performances. We will have Eddie Kenzo. These are artists who rarely come to the diaspora. We'll have King Kaka, we have Drez, we have Anthony Cole, we have Tacoma Refugee Choir, we have One Vibe Band, we have DJ Les Cadence, we have DJ Poison Ivy, we have DJ Afrisha, we have DJ Freddie Mooks, and finally we have DJ Black. We have other incredible artists also who are not on this lineup, but they will be performing at the Madaraka Festival. So join us and let me know in the DM if you have any questions. So for now, I'll just thank you, and I just want to read a couple of comments here. Martin says, tuned in from Kenya. Thank you. And Olu says, Simon, that emotional dysregulation and reactivity has such an impact. I'm telling you, I have been in such a situation myself. I've been in a situation where I've just lost control. I've just lost control, and my energy is just being consumed by by dealing with dealing with an emotional situation where I have to respond in ways that I don't like. So later on, by the time you want to recover, you're tired, you're physically tired, and you regret how you reacted or responded to a situation. So it's really important that you know who you're dealing with and where they are, and why they are acting the way they are, because sometimes it's not your fault that you respond in a certain way, but really I would just say, listen to what these 3 nuggets were, and maybe it will be easier for you, and also for me it will be easier just based on these 3 nuggets of wisdom. I'll hopefully respond better when I encounter situations where I'm dealing with someone who might be extremely jealous and extremely determined to ensure that the quarrel that we have that is born out of jealousy does not end in a hurry. I want to see here Olu says that avoidance to protect your own energy. I agree. You must know how to protect your energy. Now, I want to thank everyone who is joining me on TikTok. Steven says that, does jealousy connect to mental health in any way? Yeah, I think so. I think so. If it's extreme jealousy, yes, it's probably connected to mental health. But I'm not an expert. I'm not a mental health expert. I'm not a jealousy expert. I am just trying to deconstruct this proverb and share the nuggets related to it. But I would recommend that you connect with someone who might be an expert when it comes to mental health and ask that question. But I do know that currently we have a serious issue when it comes to mental health. We have serious challenges when it comes to mental health, and unless you're willing to take a break from whatever you're doing to check your own mental health status, to take care of yourself physically and mentally, you have to be the one who is responsible for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you. So I highly recommend that you exercise more, you meditate more, you go out in nature, you spend time with family, and you do your best so that you take care of yourself, because once you get off the rail, sometime you can never be rescued, So this marks the end of our time together today. Cabs, thank you for joining, and thank you for all the amazing guests that you've been introducing me to. We're having a number of guests in the lineup for the African Father in America podcast in the next couple of weeks. You'll be seeing many guests joining us, and a lot of it's you, our friends and our viewers and people who believe in this podcast that bring us some incredible guests. So if you know someone, let me know, but also let Cabs and Laven and Stella know, because those are some of the people that really support this work that I do. So with those few comments, I want to end our time together today, and I highly recommend that you go to the description section of this video. You're not only going to get the ticket to the Madaraka Festival, but you will get other resources that we want you to have. And then if you're in Seattle and you want a discount code for the Madaraka Festival, also hit me in the DM on Instagram and across all social media platforms, and we will take good care of you. Thank you, and take good care of yourselves. I will see you tomorrow for another episode of the African Father in America podcast. Same place, same time, same vibration.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo.